discussion topic is router. Router is very important topic under the subject computer network. So let's start with our discussion. So the various topics that we are going to cover today are, first we will discuss about the basic introduction about the routers. Then we will discuss about how to connect two different networks. Then we will discuss connecting LAN to ISP, that is Internet Service Provider. So then we will discuss about router vs switch, that is difference between the working of router and the switch, how they work. Then in the last we will discuss about various interfaces and the gateways under the router. So let's move to our first slide. So what is router? Basically, as the name represents, router means that just to route something. It means that to provide the path so that data can be transferred from one location to the another location. So basically, what is the responsibility of the router? It just forward the data packets that is containing information, the important information between two different LANs, between two different networks, we can say. LANs means that local area network. Basically, we have three type of networks, that is LAN, MAN and WAN. So LAN is a local area network, MAN is the metropolitan area network, then WAN, WAN, wide area network. These all have the different use. Local area network we use in the small area like college campus or schools or single building, we can say. Then here router is responsible to transfer the packets between two different LANs. It helps two different networks to communicate with each other. It means that if we are having two different networks, both can communicate with each other and they can easily transfer the data between them. So the two different networks that work over here are, we can say we work in two local area networks, or we can also work in the two wide area network. Then a LAN can be connected to the internet also. It means that simple LAN, that is local area network, is connected to a collection of networks, wide network, that is internet. So this is the basic introduction about router. So let's move to the next slide, connecting two different LANs. So how to connect the two different LANs? If we are having like network 1 and network 2, and we are having switches. Switches are connecting various nodes like computer systems in the local area network. The most important point over here to be noticed is that a network is always identified by the IP address and the subnet mask. So IP address means that every node, every system, it will have the unique IP address, that is the internet protocol address. Then subnet mask also. Now we come to the point that what is subnet mask? Logical subdivision of IP network. The practice of dividing a network into, if we divide it into two or more networks, then it is basically called as the subnetting. So the practice of dividing a network into multiple networks is called as subnetting, and that address is called as subnet mask. So here we can see in the diagram that there is a router in between the local area network 1 and local area network 2. It is connecting the both networks. So both can communicate with each other and they can transfer the data between them. So next we are having how router connects LAN to the internet. So here we can see the diagram. One local area network we are having, in that we are having 5 nodes like A, B, C, D and E. And there is a router in between which is connecting the ISP to the local area network. ISP over here means that Internet Service Provider. Basically we can say it is the organization that provides service for the accessing, participating in the network so that there can be transfer of data. So here is a diagram how the router connects the LAN to internet. The basic benefit over here is that all the nodes which are present in the network, they can access the internet. So this is the biggest advantage, that all the nodes over here, like 5 nodes, they can access the internet with the help of the router through ISP. So now let's come to the basic differences between the router and switch. How they usually work and what are the basic differences. So first point is, if we are connecting two different LANs, it is possible using router. Whereas if we talk about the switch, switch is basically used to connect the nodes, or we can say the various devices, peripheral devices, like we want to set the scanner, printer in the same LAN. That is possible through switch. So in order to connect the multiple LANs, that is local area network, we need to use the router only. So the second point is that router is having memory. In that memory, it used to store the routing tables, in which it has various information how to send and where to send the particular data. Whereas if we talk about switch, switch stores a MAC address table. In case of switch, it is having MAC address table rather than the routing table. Here the MAC address table, that is the IP addresses of the nodes, will be stored over there in that table. So the next difference is really very important point, like router works in the third layer of the OSI model or TCP model, whatever model we are having. Like third layer, it will be network layer. Then switch works on the second layer, that is data link layer. So data link layer is important for switch, but in case of router works in network layer. So the next point is, router helps to connect the two different LANs, or we can say it can also connect the two different WANs also, like we have already discussed. Through ISP we are connecting to the internet. We are getting a lot of services using internet with the help of the router. But in case of switch just helps the nodes to communicate within the network, or we can say in the same network we can communicate or transfer the information. So the next point is, a switch has different ports. If we talk about the ports is under the switches. Like we can say RJ45 connectors, or some other connectors are also present. So these ports basically what they do, they just attach all the nodes so that they can transfer the data. Whereas in case of router, there are interfaces like intermediary phase, where there will be connection to the different networks or LANs is possible. So these are the basic important differences between router and switch. So we have just discussed about the interface. So let's discuss what exactly the interfaces are. Like we know that a router has two interfaces. Why two interfaces? If we just want to connect the two networks together and want to share the data, then obviously there will be two interfaces. Like if we are having two nodes, I have taken one example over here. When a node A of network 1 is just want to share the data with the network 2, in which we are having another node called as node E. Its name is, let's say, node E, and we just want to share the data. We want to send the data packets. So there will be two interfaces. Interface 1 will just get the data in the same network. Then it will transfer the data or the data packets to the interface 2. Then interface 2 of the next network, that is network 2, it will work further so that node E, which is present in the interface 2, that can receive the data packets appropriately. So this is the working of router interfaces. So in the next slide, I have taken the basic diagram how it is working. Like node A, which is present in the LAN 1 having the different IP address, the node E, which is present in the next network like LAN 2, it is having the different IP address. They both are like transferring the data among them. Like node A will send the data and node E can receive the data, or vice versa can also be possible according to the requirement. So let's have some of MCQs related to the same topic. So the first question is, if node A, which is having some IP address like 10.0.1.2, whatever it is having, then just want to send the data packets to node E, which is having another IP address. Then we have to say which device will support to forward the data packets to node E. It means that node A want to send the data to node E, right? Which of the following option is correct for this question? Switch is the correct answer. A reason being, in the question it is not mentioned that whether we are having the single network or the multiple networks. We are just having two different IP addresses. It means that we are working in the same environment. So switch will be appropriate over here. So next question is, what is that parts are called in a router which are connected to two different networks? So what is the correct answer? Option number 3 is the correct answer, that is router interfaces are present in the different networks which face and just send and receive the data packets to different nodes present in the different networks. So this was all about the routers. Thank you so much.